Can I let you guys in on a little secret? It's my job. I know, I don't have a job, whatever. But it's my job, as well as people in my field, to give you guys an idea of what to expect about the future, like to understand the direction the world is going in, why it's going in that direction, like where we're headed. And unfortunately, and I want to be clear, this is not just me, this is everyone. Not a single person on earth right now, not within or without the Trump administration, not a single human being alive has any idea what's happening right now with Greenland. The idea of America annexing Greenland is so unprecedented, so difficult to conceive, so impossible to imagine that everyone is just taking shots in the dark. It seems inconceivable. Like the idea of, for literally no reason, us seizing territory held by a NATO ally. It's just it's impossible to, because every prediction you might make about the future sounds like mentally ill. It sounds insane. It sounds deranged. Can you imagine explaining any of this to somebody from like 10 years ago, right? Oh yeah, this was the part where America arbitrarily seized Greenland. No one would. I think this is why a lot of people tend to do the nothing ever happens bit. It's because when there's no historical precedent and any explanation for why things are happening the way they are sounds insane, the easiest thing to do is to pretend, or to hope maybe, that nothing will happen at all. Unfortunately, I've got bad news. And this is a very superficial analysis on my part, but I noticed it this morning and I am slightly concerned. I do not like the way that media is talking about Greenland, how the US could take over Greenland, and the potential challenges. That is an interesting way, the Associated Press, to discuss this issue. I can't say I'm particularly happy with the framing. The challenges, it's just like it's a logistical struggle, but challenges. Everything in life is challenges. We can figure it out, can't we? I guess that, like, I understand that every news outlet, like, there are basically no news outlets that are willing to normatively reinforce a good worldview, right? Only a negative one. Fox News will say, we should kill innocent women for no reason. We should gun them down for even slightly inconveniencing a police officer. Or not, like, because she didn't even, like, we should just kill people, right? That's the Fox News can say we should. Normative statements about the way the world should be. AP News, CNN, Reuters, they only make descriptive statements. They only say what the world is. And usually they're very biased when they do that, right? Like they'll just cite the opinions of people who they know will agree with the position they want to reaffirm. The fact that they're doing this bullshit here, this like, well, what would happen if we invaded Greenland, This is a normalization of the concept. In essence, it's a kind of, implicit, how would you say it? An implicit normalization, an implicit normative statement. When you start talking about a task like this, you are saying that it's doable. You're saying that it's comprehensible. You're no longer asking, why would we, or how could we? Now you're saying, well, if we did, how would we? It's not just the Associated Press. This is at the top of Reuters right now. Denmark's dilemma, defending a territory on its way out. President Trump's threats to seize Greenland have forced Copenhagen to rally support among its European allies, but it won't have much to gain if the territory declares independence. What the fuck are you talking about? Greenland is not going to declare independence on the eve of a threatened invasion by the United States? This is completely insane. And also, manufacturing consent. The Greenland was on its way out anyway. Like, why would, it's not even a big deal for us to annex them, Look at this. Denmark cannot let Greenland go without losing its geopolitical relevance in the Arctic territory. Oh, okay. So it's just a game of equal geopolitics then. Okay. Just equal. It's not like us attacking an ally for no reason. Now it's just, well, it's a game. There's no moral consideration here. They're only willing to make descriptive statements when the way they're making them would passively reaffirm the idea that this is doable. Yet it may ultimately have nothing to show for its efforts if Greenlanders choose independence or strike their own deal with Washington. Why would that happen? Why would that happen? What do you mean? If Greenlanders choose independence? Oh, nice. And it doesn't even link to an article saying the people of Greenland want independence. It just links to the subject of Greenland and Reuters. A writer had to choose to put this in. A writer had to they had to imply. They had to, they want you to think, oh my God, Bagheera's yelling. Here, I gotta close the door. You've had your food. They want you to think like, yeah, man, the people of Greenland are just like, on the cusp of declaring independence, at which point they would have the authority to make their own decision with America, which they're not. They made this up. This is fake. The idea that Greenland is on the cusp of independence and therefore they might bypass Copenhagen entirely, that's fake. Why are they doing this? Well, I know the reason why they're doing this. It's because they're evil and they want war. They want war because the entire media establishment is in bed with the Trump administration. They love the Trump administration. My fucking God, dude. Do you guys understand and appreciate how fucking insane this is? This is Reuters. This isn't even CBS or Fox News or Newsmax or whatever. This is fucking Reuters. Reasonable people wake up and they look at this and they're like, I guess the matter of Copenhagen's control over Greenland is up in the air. Maybe the people of Greenland want independence, Jesus Christ. The language here. The crisis has exposed an uncomfortable reality. Denmark is rallying support to protect a territory whose population wants independence and whose largest opposition party now wants to bypass Copenhagen and negotiate directly with Washington. For one, largest opposition party. For two, interestingly, you know what they're not citing here? They're not citing how many Greenlanders want to be controlled by America. Something like 90% of Greenlanders are opposed to it. Like, 93. Like an overwhelming, you could never get any amount of Americans to agree to this. Who's the article author? Jacob Grunholt Peterson and Stein Jacobson. It's Reuters. These are probably just state stooges. This guy's been writing about it for a while. Greenland's history as a Danish territory and why Trump wants it. All the parties of Greenland made a joint statement telling America to fuck off. Yeah. There's absolutely no ambivalence on this. There's no question of what Greenland wants. But this article was specifically written with the intention of making it sound like the people of Greenland might actually want to be annexed. Reuters. I hope you all carry this forward for the rest of your life, to never, ever, 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 under any circumstances, trust the mainstream media. I'm not doing conspiracy slop shit. You're looking at it live. This is right here in front of you. It's fucking Reuters. It's Reuters. And you're looking, and they are deliberately making these decisions. There would be no consequences for them if they didn't frame it this way. They are choosing to do this. But Greenland's aspirations for self-determination have been brewing since the former colony got greater autonomy and its own parliament in 1979. Wow, fascinating. So they've been able to be independent for nearly 50 years now, and they still aren't. I wonder if they would declare independence right before being potentially invaded by the global superpower. Where do you get your info? How would you advise one guard yourself against disinformation? The secret is not knowing things. The secret is knowing how people lie to you. You should be able to read this and know, even without knowing that Greenland does not want America to annex it, that this is dishonest because of the way it's presenting the information. The fact that they're willing to provide all this info without citation, the fact that the link here, for Greenlanders choose independence just goes to the generic Reuters page for Greenland tags, the fact that nothing here says whether or not Greenland wants to be annexed by the United States, these are all red flags that you should recognize as a manufactured effort to lie to you. It's a constructed attempt to misinform you. It's just about media literacy, Look at this. Trump's pressure has accelerated a timeline that was already in motion, forcing Copenhagen to spend political capital and financial resources on a relationship with an increasingly uncertain endpoint. What the fuck? Trump's forced Copenhagen to take the precarious position of saying it doesn't want Greenland to be invaded? Again, the whole framing here, the Greenland was on its way out. They were going to declare independence any second now, even though they've been able to for almost 50 years. Copenhagen is disingenuously overextending itself to maintain control over a tentative territory. The financial burden. Copenhagen provides an annual block grant of roughly 610 million bucks to Greenland's economy. We would be liberating the fucking Danish people. We'd be liberating the Danish people from their financial burden if only we took over Greenland. Total annual spending to just under $1 billion. $1 billion. We gave 40 times that to Argentina last year. Some reject framing the relationship in transactional terms, pointing to Denmark's legal and moral obligations under international law and centuries of shared history. Bury that in the 20th paragraph in the article. Some say it's not about the money. It's like, do you know how insane this argument is? Imagine a foreign country, imagine the Soviet Union threatening to annex Louisiana. And then you see a Reuters article. The federal government provides Louisiana approximately $6.7 billion a year in federal aid. Washington has overextended itself, straining an already tentative relationship. For now, Denmark has little choice but to stand firm in maintaining its diplomatic credibility. Oh, you're not defending a territory against unwarranted aggression. You're straining yourself to maintain diplomatic credibility. You're just, you have no choice. It's not that you want to. You're put in this position. But in doing so risks the relationship with the United States at a time when, quote, Russia is an accelerating threat and being on the US's bad side is no good for anyone in the West. Holy shit. You wouldn't want to get on the United States' bad side, huh? Why don't you let us take this entire island? You wouldn't want to, that's a nice Greenland you got here. I also really like the editing decision to quote this text, but to not say, as said by Serafima Andreeva. Like, normally in Reuters, when they're quoting somebody, they will specifically say who the quote is from after the text. But here, they get to make it sound like it's their words by just leaving it ambivalent. I mean, if you're reading carefully, you know who said it, but you understand the point, right? The point is to let this sentiment land as though it's coming with the editorial authority of Reuters itself. It's not just what somebody said, it's what Reuters believes. And what they believe is that it is Denmark, not America, that is risking our relationship. I don't understand why we have to cling to this community with Greenland when they so badly want out of it. Lone Frank, a Danish science writer and broadcaster, told Reuters. Here's another great thing, by the way. They're clearly going out of their way to find people who are okay with America annexing Greenland. Check out who Lone Frank is. Huh! A commentator and lecturer, worked in radio and television, including organized and participated in science series on TV, talking about controversial issues such as heritability of IQ and race and intelligence. Fascinating. Really interesting stuff there. I'm sure it's great. Greenland's mineral resources potential. That's interesting. Thank you, neutral article on the subject of our annexation of Greenland. Thank you for the big fucking resources map. That's great. All the mineral deposits that we would have to destroy pristine, untouched wildlife to get to. Thank you. They literally want this to happen, holy fuck. Yeah, my guess is that there are deep financial interests at play here. Somebody in Reuters has a share of a mining company that would get a hold on this, Like, the argument for our annexation of Greenland isn't even about the fucking minerals. It's about the fact that we would control a significant portion of the Arctic Sea. The fact that they're listing this is a huge giveaway. I guarantee you that somebody involved in the writing or editing or whatever of this article has a significant stake in mining companies that are lined up for the opportunity. Guarantee you. One of the authors used to be an energy writer for Dow Jones out of Russia. Really? I don't know. I think they're just falling in line. No. They're not. I promise you. This is not fear, okay? Do not let them get away with that, because they're going to want everything to go back to normal once Trump is out. Do not let them pretend that they had a gun to their head when they wrote this. There is absolutely nothing. The administration would not have done a goddamn thing to them if they had put out an honest article. How do you write this and not mention the dissolution of NATO? Nowhere in this article do they bother to mention the whole, attacking an allied NATO country, dissolution of NATO, European powers all tell us to fuck off. They're like marshaling military forces to, none of that. They just want war. It's terrifying, isn't it? how even the most neutral seeming outlets, when you look under the hood, are. This is what it was like with Iraq and Vietnam, by the way. Always, always the left has the burden of being right too early. Only we see this. It's not me being conceited, it's true. Only we see this. The left has always had the, distinct honor of being able to look at the media shift towards war. Even ostensibly reasonable outlets like Reuters. They talk about NATO right there. No, they don't. Fredrickson says if the US chooses to attack another NATO country, everything stops, including NATO and the security. They don't expand on it. They don't talk about it. But interestingly, when they have other pro-war, pro-invasion sentiment that they want to share, they don't even bother framing it in the context of a quote. Sure, they provide the quotation marks, but, it's pretty clear what the writers of the article think. An enterprising chatter, by the way. Oh, wait, hold on. Holy shit, Jacob, the co-author of this article. The co-author has this article from 5 years ago, Omega Lol. Insight. As the Arctic's attractions mount, Greenland is a security black hole. Fascinating. Thank you, Jacob Grunhold Peterson, for your long-term interest in the acquisition of Greenland. Yeah, he defending Trump's attempt to buy it during his first term. It's great. I want to know more about this guy. Copenhagen Bureau Chief, Reuters, covering Denmark, Iceland, Greenland, and Faroe Islands, former correspondent in Moscow and Singapore. He's just quoting articles. He's not saying anything. Actually, I don't see that much info on this guy. Like, bios or whatever. I'm just seeing, like, articles that he's written. They're LinkedIn. I can't look at LinkedIn. I don't have LinkedIn. I'd have to log in. But as we all know, I don't have a job, so I can't look at LinkedIn. What the fuck is with this guy? Climate-friendly farming, Greenland's melting glaciers offer an answer? Here's a bunch of headlines, by the way. Al Jazeera, what are potential hard ways Trump could take Greenland? That's fine. The Hill, the U.S. must take Greenland whatever the cost. Sure. Al Jazeera, Europe should prepare for Greenland's annexation and end of NATO. Experts. Trump says U.S. will acquire Greenland whether they like it or not. Greenlanders don't want to be Americans, say political leaders amid Trump threats. That's fine, from The Guardian. There's the one from Reuters we just saw. From the New York Times, Trump eyes Greenland. Europe figures its best bet is a negotiation. Greenland was America's friend. Now it's a takeover target. That one's fine. Trump says U.S. needs to own Greenland to prevent Russia and China from taking it. That's the BBC. U.S. will take Greenland the hard way if it can't do the easy way, Trump says. With Greenland push, Trump once again thinks he's got all the cards. Big mix of framing. I'm telling you guys, okay? It's as always, it's a follow the money case. I don't really know what to say here. I don't know what to say here, man. I can't wait for them to have been always against it like Iraq. Yeah. I guess all I can really say from this is that this happened with Vietnam, Iraq. It'll keep happening over and over and over again. Every time there's an opportunity for America to do great evil, the gears and cogs of American industry and media turn to facilitate that evil. And they try to get you caught up in the fervor. They take advantage of the little burst of enthusiasm from the citizenry. They try to manufacture it as best as they can. And then they all fade into obscurity because media, after all, isn't just like one or two or five or 10 or 100 guys. It's a big system of contributors, you know? Maybe the New York Times back then defended Hitler, back then did this or that, defended the Iraq War, defended the Vietnam War, defended Israel's genocide in Gaza 100,000 times over and over and over again. But don't worry, that time is gone, and now everything is fine, and everyone who works there is fine. This is what the liberals will never do. The liberals might be allies with us against Trump, but they will not be allies with us against the media that fell in line to defend Trump, because they don't understand that it goes beyond Trump, beyond the Trump administration, and beyond the Republicans. It extends to the fair weather friends in the media who will do anything to support their own extremely diverse monetary interests, who will take a leap at any opportunity they get. Also, a lot of foreign correspondents are intel assets. Oh, yeah, 100%. It goes so fucking deep, man.